All right, let's jump right into this explainer and dissect the invisible biological architecture hiding right inside your closet. You know, we interact with textiles literally every single day, yet we rarely stop to think about the complex engineering that goes into the very fibers woven right against our skin.
Today, we're shifting our perspective. Instead of just seeing clothes, we're going to uncover the microscopic engineering and the chemical roots that dictate exactly how these fabrics behave in the real world. We aren't just looking at fashion today. We are diving deep into material science. We're going to explore a chemical, physical, and functional diagnostic guide to biological textiles. Here's our quick roadmap for today. First, the root chemistry. Second, cellulosic, which is our plant-based power. Third, protein, our animal-based warmth. Fourth, the geography of natural fibers. And finally, number 5, the chemistry of care.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the root chemistry.
Take a look at these 3 origin branches. We've got our botanical green, which signifies plant-based cellulosics, like cotton and jute. Then there's the fleece cream, representing our protein fibers, so think wool and silk. And finally, that slate gray points us straight to natural minerals.
Now let's just touch on that last branch really quickly. While mineral fibers like asbestos do exist, they're made from a silicate of calcium and magnesium, and yeah, they are incredibly resistant to fire. Their extreme toxicity means we're going to keep our focus entirely on the fascinating and much safer science of plants and animals today. So we'll just leave the minerals behind for now.
Moving right along to Section 2, cellulosic, or plant-based power. Okay, before we get into specific examples, we absolutely need to establish that plant fibers are cellulosic. Basically, that means their chemical base is derived from cellulose, which is the main structural component of plant cell walls. Plus, and this is a crucial term here, they are inherently hygroscopic. Hygroscopic, it simply means they have the structural ability to absorb moisture right out of the environment. Literally, they just love water. Just look closely at cotton's flattened, kind of kidney-shaped microscopic tube. Because of this unique cross-section and that cellulosic base we just talked about, cotton acts like a tiny microscopic sponge. It can actually absorb about 8.5% of its dry weight in moisture alone, and this natural dampness completely prevents the buildup of static electricity, which is exactly why it's the absolute ideal fabric for hot, humid climates. But you might be wondering, how does standard cotton stack up against its stiffer cellulosic cousins like jute and flax? Well, while cotton offers a really great, flexible baseline strength, which actually gets even stronger when it gets wet, by the way, other plant fibers prioritize structural rigidity way over comfort. Take jute, for example, and its fascinating strength paradox. This stuff has incredibly high tensile strength, meaning it can hold a massive amount of weight, but it has virtually zero elongation, no stretch whatsoever. Because it literally refuses to give, it's strictly relegated to industrial applications, think heavy agricultural sacks and tough carpets, rather than wearables. It's just way too rough for a comfy t-shirt.
And hey, if you've ever wondered why your beautiful linen pants wrinkle literally the exact moment you sit down, well, this explains it perfectly. Flax, which is the plant stem we use to weave linen, has a highly rigid cellular structure. So when flax fibers are bent, they violently snap rather than springing back into shape. This microscopic breaking is exactly what causes that characteristic heavy creasing we always associate with linen.
Let's shift gears and jump into Section 3, protein, animal-based warmth.
Have you ever wondered why pulling on a thick wool sweater actually makes you feel actively warmer rather than just trapping the body heat you already have? It's pretty wild. It's not just a blanket. It's practically a battery.
So the secret here is this amazing thermodynamic quirk. If you look closely at the anatomy of a wool fiber, it has this natural wavy crimp and a scaly surface that creates all these microscopic dead air spaces. Now this air acts as a fantastic natural insulator. But here is the real magic. As those scaly microscopic pockets absorb environmental moisture, a literal chemical reaction happens that releases steady exothermic heat. Seriously, your wool sweater is actively warming you through chemistry.
Moving over to silk, our other major protein fiber, we find a completely different process. Silk comes out of the silkworm cocoon in a raw state, and it's coated in this protective gum called sericin. To get that luxurious fabric we all know, it has to go through a process called degumming. Basically, these raw, coarse, and honestly kind of dull filaments are carefully stripped of their sericin gum to finally reveal that famous, incredibly soft, and highly reflective finish hiding underneath.
And get this, how that silk actually looks completely depends on the silkworm's diet. It's true.
Cultivated worms fed exclusively on mulberry leaves produce this really smooth, high luster aesthetic. On the flip side, wild worms, like the tassar, muga, and airy varieties, eat a very diverse, wild diet, and that yields a distinctly coarser, beautifully textured aesthetic. The diet literally changes the animal's biological output, which is just so cool.
All right, let's zoom out for Section 4, the geography of natural fibers.
Using India as a prime example of agricultural diversity here, notice how the jute belt overlaps perfectly with the Ganges Delta across West Bengal, Assam, and Bihar, where the massive water supply supports its growth. Meanwhile, the distinct mulberry silk hubs are concentrated way down south in the Bengaluru region. The local environment completely and directly dictates exactly which of our biological fibers will thrive there.
And finally, let's bring it all home with Section 5, the chemistry of care.
Believe it or not, the fate of your entire wardrobe ultimately comes down to this one core chemical contrast. Plant fibers, our cellulosics, so your cottons and linens, are naturally resistant to alkalis, but animal proteins, like your wool and silk, are highly sensitive to alkaline environments. Simply put, they are alkali-soluble.
So, what does this actually mean for you? Well, it means normal alkaline laundry detergents, the kind you buy in big jugs at the grocery store, are perfectly safe for your cotton t-shirts. That cellulosic shield holds up fine. But if you use that exact same detergent on an animal protein, it will literally physically dissolve and destroy your wool or silk over time. The alkaline chemicals just break those protein bonds right down, which is strictly why you have to dry clean or use highly specialized pH-neutral care for your favorite sweaters. Biology literally dictates your laundry rules.
To tie this whole shebang together, base chemistry really dictates everything. Cellulosics absorb moisture and easily survive the washing machine. Proteins give us unique properties, like wool's awesome exothermic warmth, but they possess terrible alkali tolerance, literally dissolving if you aren't careful. And sun resistance? Well, that varies across the board, with cotton and wool both yellowing under photochemical degradation. It's this incredibly delicate, everyday balance of nature's engineering.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. We spend our entire lives quite literally wrapped in plants and animal proteins. Next time you check a clothing tag, are you going to see just a piece of fabric? Or are you going to see the incredibly complex biological architecture hiding right there in plain sight? Thanks so much for exploring the invisible science of your wardrobe with me today. Keep wondering, keep learning, and hey, definitely pay a little more attention to those care labels.